as you are at this, Stephen. So much to learn and so little time.
Doctor Strange, the telefilm that looked at 1978 CBS programming and decided the appropriate response was, you know what the Sorcerer Supreme really needs? A hospital job, a British ancient one, and a broadcast slot directly opposite the single most watched television event of the entire season. Except that last part isn't true, and the man who started that myth, Stan Lee himself, because here's what nobody actually reckons with when they talk about the 1978 Doctor Strange TV movie. This film wasn't killed by its own incompetence, it was killed by its own network. CBS had Marvel's Master of the Mystic Arts in its hands and fumbled the catch in spectacular, almost cosmically indifferent fashion. This is a story of a genuinely interesting piece of Marvel television that was murdered, not by bad ideas, not by an impossible scheduling injustice, but by one fundamental misunderstanding of who Doctor Strange actually is, and over 40 years of mythology that let everyone off the hook. To understand what happened to Doctor Strange in 1978, you have to understand what CBS was doing in the late 70s, because for one brief polyester adjacent moment, the network was actively trying to construct the first live action Marvel Universe. The Incredible Hulk premiered in 1977. Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno, David Banner turning green in parking structures across America. It worked because Bixby brought genuine pathos to the role, the tragedy of a man haunted by both the thing inside him and a world that doesn't understand him. It was appointment television. CBS had proof of concept. Spider Man followed. Captain America was coming. The network had licensed a substantial chunk of the Marvel catalog and was running what amounted to a miniature superhero industrial complex. Three guys in foam padding fighting low budget criminals in various car parks. Week after week, and audiences were watching. So, CBS, in their infinite wisdom, did what networks always do with a working formula. They tried to replicate it. Their next Marvel property was the Sorcerer Supreme himself. The logic was simple: Marvel property, TV budget, done. What CBS missed is the Hulk works on television because his story is contained. Man transforms, man fights, man walks away sad. It's episodic by design. Doctor Strange is the structural opposite of that. Strange requires you to dismantle your entire understanding of reality, rebuild it around occult geometry, and then ask your audience to believe that a hospital employee is ready for that journey in under 90 minutes. They made him a psychiatrist, not a surgeon, a psychiatrist. The character whose origin depends on losing his hands, losing his identity, losing the thing he believed made him superior to everyone in the room. Because why not? The movie is September 6, 1978, directed by Philip DeGuere, who would later work on Simon and Simon and Whiz Kids, which tells you everything about the tonal register CBS was aiming for. Peter Hooten plays Dr. Stephen Strange, a New York hospital psychiatrist who is objectively fine, competent, moderately presentable. He carries the role with the screen presence of someone who has been informed this is a very serious production and is taking that information at face value without quite processing what it means. He's not bad. He's just entirely uncharismatic in the specific way that mid level European film actors can be when dropped into American network television and asked to carry mystical exposition. The villain is Morgan Lee Fay, played by the late Jessica Walter, and here is where the movie earns a genuine, unqualified point. Walter is good. She brings menace. She brings theatricality. She brings the specific exhausted menace of a woman who has been manipulating men across multiple centuries and is frankly a little tired of it. She's been dispatched by a nameless demonic overlord, an entity that wants Earth's next Sorcerer Supreme destroyed before his powers fully manifest, and given 3 days to get the job done. Morgan Lee Fay carries roughly 20 minutes of this film almost entirely by herself, and damn does she make it count. John Mills plays Thomas Lindmar, the Ancient One equivalent, and he is doing everything correctly inside a film that keeps doing things incorrectly about him. Lindmar is elderly, British, visibly exhausted by the cosmic burden of being the only thing standing between Earth and a dimensional annihilation. There's genuine dignity in his performance. He deserved a better production. The plot mechanics involve a young woman named Clea Lake, played by Edie Benton, who gets used as a psychic vessel by Morgan Le Fay to reach Strange. Strange and Clea share a connection that's never quite explained but functions as the film's emotional core. Their shared dream sequences are lit like a late night perfume advertisement. And here's the thing, the production design actually tries. The dimensional effects are limited but earnest. For 1978 CBS television, this is not embarrassing crap. The structural problem is elsewhere. Strange has no arc. He moves from mildly skeptical psychiatrist to accepts his cosmic destiny in approximately 40 minutes with almost no resistance. The character's entire dramatic engine, arrogance, catastrophic loss, ego dismantlement, hard won humility, is notably absent. Spoiler alert, when you remove the reason a character becomes a hero, you remove the reason anyone cares. But let's keep it 100. This version of Doctor Strange has exactly three problems. Only one of them was the film's own fault. Problem one, no arc covered. Psychiatrist, hands intact, no loss, no fail, no reconstruction. The dramatic skeleton is missing from the first page. Problem two, CBS misread their own template. The Hulk worked because pathos scales to a TV budget. Doctor Strange is not pathos. Doctor Strange is vertigo. The horror of discovering the universe is larger, stranger, and considerably less invested in your continued survival than you assumed. You cannot domesticate that into a hospital procedural without losing everything that makes the character interesting. And problem three is the one people always get wrong because Stanley himself got it wrong. Fast forward to CBS programming schedule for September 6, 1978. For years, the standard explanation of why Doctor Strange died in the ratings has been that it aired opposite Roots, the most watched miniseries in American television history. Stan Lee said it himself in 1985. I think that Doctor Strange would have done much better in the ratings, except that it aired opposite routes. I know, bad impersonation, but whatever. But that explanation had been repeated unchallenged ever since. The problem is that Roots aired in January 1977, 18 months before this film. What actually aired opposite Doctor Strange in the 8 o'clock hour on September 6, 1978? 8 is enough. The season 3 premiere of a family sitcom about a newspaper columnist raising 8 kids in Sacramento. That was the competition, not a historical cultural event, not a watershed moment in American broadcasting, a Tom Bradford episode. The overnight ratings came back. Strange still got demolished. Classic. Now here's the part that is deliciously bleak. A Roots rerun did move into the second hour of Doctor Strange broadcast window. ABC aired part 2 at 9 o'clock, which likely hurt the film's back half, and Stanley decades later remembered it as Roots and the myth was born. But here's what the myth has been quietly concealing this entire time. The first hour of Doctor Strange, the hour that makes or breaks the pilot, the hour that determines whether a network orders a series or quietly moves on. That hour aired opposite 8 is enough. Let that sink in. Not an event, not television history, a family sitcom that regularly pulled 12 million viewers on a good week. And Strange still couldn't beat it. The Roots excuse let CBS off the hook. It let the film off the hook. It turned the fairly ordinary ratings failure into a cosmic scheduling injustice. Now, here's what the 1978 Doctor Strange actually represents. Stripped of everything else, proof of concept, delivered approximately 47 years too early. Philip DeGuere understood something fundamentally correct about this character. That Strange story sits in the intersection of medicine and the irrational. A man of clinical precision confronting a universe that operates entirely outside clinical logic. That's the right read. He didn't just have the source fidelity, the budget, or an audience that had been culturally prepared for that kind of story. The MCU version works because Kevin Feige didn't give Strange his hands back at the script stage. The hands matter, the arrogance matter, the fall matters, the reconstruction of a broken ego into something worthy of cosmic trust. That is the story. 47 years after CBS quietly buried this film on a Wednesday night, a movie studio grossed over $677 million, proving that the character was already franchise material. The audience was always there. It just needed someone to take the character seriously. And Jessica Walter, who passed in 2021, deserved to be remembered as the best thing in this production. She took a thankless villain role in a mid-budget network pilot and made it genuinely unsettling. That performance still holds up. The rest of the film wishes it could say the same. The 1978 Doctor Strange has a cloak of levitation. He has Linma's blessing. He has the entire mythical vocation laid out in front of him like a carpet. None of it matters because in the end, the ratings came back, Stan Lee blamed the wrong show, and the universe simply moved on to 8 is enough. If you want genuine video essays on cult television, retro animation, and forgotten pop culture, subscribe to Pulp Vision. Thanks for watching, and until next time.